So, culture itself is a site of politics and of struggle. And here, queer artists, as storytellers, visionaries, and disruptors of the status quo, play a significant role in transforming the region's collective memory.
This is the Belongings podcast series, produced by the ASEAN Caucus with the support of Voice. Belongings is a prologue to the upcoming Southeast Asian Queer Cultural Festival in 2021. The series name has three elements. B means to exist. It shines the light on the existence and identity of the LGBTIQ. Longing is inspired by the word karinduan in Bahasa Indonesia or Bahasa Melayu and pangungulila in Filipino. It's the yearning for a region that is caring, inclusive, and respectful of diversity. And lastly, belonging. It stands as a reminder that the LGBTIQ people have always been part of the ongoing memory of the Southeast Asian region. In this episode, we talk to Ivanka Custodio, an LGBTIQ rights activist from the Philippines. They'll share their work as Festival Coordinator of the Southeast Asian Queer Cultural Festival, or SEAQCF 2021.
SEAQCF is an online festival that's happening on February 13 to March 13, 2021. ASEAN Caucus, as the festival organizer, aims to create a virtual space where LGBTIQ people can collectively reclaim, reimagine, and insist on our place in the region. The festival theme is Belongings, and it's kind of a wordplay that highlights three aspects of living as queer people in Southeast Asia. First is being, which represents our right to exist and the freedom to be who we are. Second is longing, which stands for the things that we dream of and aspire for. And the third, belonging, which is an assertion that the region is our home and that we have always been a part of the Southeast Asian community. The festival is a response to the narrative being promoted by governments in the region that claim that being queer or gender diverse is a Western concept that, in essence, says that we, LGBTIQ people, are not real, that our existence is some sort of propaganda from the West. This narrative translates to legal and political realities. For instance, 4 out of the 11 Southeast Asian countries still criminalize homosexuality. And even where it is not criminalized, there's still a glaring lack of legal protections for the rights of LGBTIQ people. This narrative also has dangerous implications on the lived experiences of queer folks in the region. We face discrimination and violence as a result of the values that this narrative promotes. So, why a cultural festival? When we talk about culture in general, what first comes to mind is that, it's only about entertainment, things like performances and art, right? But culture is so much more than that. It's also about how we do things and relate with each other, how we make meaning. Cultural production is actually any form of intervention in the process of producing meaning. So, culture itself is a site of politics and of struggle. While institutions and people in power may hold sway in how culture is organized, the people can also wield power to reshape culture and to transform structures and systems that do not serve us. And when you talk of queer culture, it is a kind of countercultural production, a way of doing culture that challenges dominant meanings and values. In the context of the ASEAN, wherein heteronormativity and fundamentalism pervade, queer folks have been engaging in cultural resistance to say that, hey, we are not okay with that. Where the ASEAN and its member states say that being LGBTIQ is not compatible with Southeast Asian values, we say, no, actually, many societies in the region have had in the past been gender diverse and had valued the role of queer people in the communities. And this is the kind of cultural resistance that the festival hopes to shed a spotlight on and celebrate. The festival is an intervention to reclaim and transform the region's collective memory from one that excludes and rejects our existence to one that recognizes that we are a part of the community. We use these narratives to collaboratively weave and shape a transformative discourse, a kind of collective memory of an inclusive Southeast Asia. And here, queer artists, as storytellers, visionaries, and disruptors of the status quo, play a significant role in transforming the region's collective memory. And we are so thrilled to be featuring over 40 queer artists from across the region. Lastly, the festival is also ASE's intervention towards alternative regionalism, where the ASEAN has always been state centric, market oriented, and far removed from the people, especially marginalized communities. We insist on building a kind of regionalism that is centered on people's realities, on their needs and their rights. And so, with this, we from the ASEAN SOGI Caucus are excited to invite LGBTIQ people from all over Southeast Asia to join us in this festival. Our community holds a tremendous power in transforming the region into a just and inclusive region, a region that we can truly call home.
To listen to more Belongings podcast episodes and to stay updated on the upcoming Southeast Asian Queer Cultural Festival in 2021, follow the ASEAN SOGI Caucus on Facebook or Twitter at ASEAN SOGI and on Instagram at ASEAN SOGI Caucus. This podcast is released under a Creative Commons license.